Hi, hello viewers, it's my Lemonade IAS Academy, and in our economy class earlier we have seen about inflation, and now we are going to see about poverty. So what is this poverty? Poverty is nothing but it is if a person is not able to satisfy his basic needs, then it means he is in poverty. So the basic needs are, we can have a question that what are these basic needs? What are the things which come under this basic needs? So the basic things which everyone consider as basic needs are food, shelter and cloth. These are some basic needs which is universally accepted actually, but there are other basic needs also which are basic for perfect life actually. So they are like education, sanitation, pure drinking water, healthcare facilities are also some basic needs, right? So these basic needs with some other basic needs like education, sanitation, pure drinking water together are the basic needs. So if a person is not able to satisfy these basic needs, then it means he is in poverty. So this is the definition. So the poverty can be divided actually. The poverty can be divided or it can be said in certain ways. So it can be said as absolute poverty or relative poverty. So what is this absolute poverty? So in absolute poverty, it is same as that of poverty actually. The definition is same as that of poverty. So absolute poverty means if a person not able to satisfy his basic needs itself, then he is in absolute poverty. Whereas relative poverty is different, slightly different compared to that of poverty. This relative poverty is like comparing with the other section of people or other group of people. This group of people is in poverty. Say in a city, let us consider a city. In a city, most of the people are earning about 10,000, and there are only certain group of people who are earning less than 10,000, and this group of people who are earning less than 10,000 is considered as the poverty people based on this relative poverty. Why? Because this comparing with the other group of people, this group of people is in poverty. This is called as relative poverty. Then what are the causes of poverty? How poverty is caused? Actually, there is a cycle of events actually. Poverty is actually linked with unemployment. If there is unemployment, poverty exists, because in unemployment, if you are not having an employment, then automatically you will not have money. If you are not having money, then you can't satisfy your basic needs. If you can't satisfy your basic needs, then automatically you will be in poverty. So unemployment and poverty is closely linked, and then this unemployment is closely linked with population also. So if the population increases, if there are more amount of population, then the country can't provide employment for all the population, right? And in that case, unemployment rises. As population increases, unemployment can happen and unemployment can increase, and because of this, poverty may happen. So high population linked with poverty, poverty is linked with unemployment. So all these three are interlinked. So if they are asking for the causes of poverty, if they are asking for the causes of poverty, then you can say more population, then you can say unemployment, and you can also say illiteracy. And in India, particularly in India, relating poverty, one thing is our India is an agrarian society. Agrarian society means most of the people in India depends on agriculture only. So if I say agriculture, nearly 60% of the people in India directly depends on agriculture, which means they are doing agriculture, nearly 60% of the people. And nearly 80 to 85% of the people in India are directly or indirectly linked with agriculture actually. So if I say directly or indirectly, it means the food processing industries, the small scale manufacturing units, and sugar manufacturing companies in which they use sugar cane and they produce certain other byproducts, and they are dependent on agriculture actually. They are indirectly depending on agriculture because most of the raw materials that they obtain and process are from agriculture, right? So nearly 60% of the people are directly dependent on agriculture, whereas 85% of the people are indirectly dependent on agriculture. So these are the main causes of poverty. And remember this, poverty, unemployment and population is interlinked. And next we will talk about population. In that I will say poverty and unemployment as the reasons. When I talk about unemployment, I will say poverty and population as the reason. These three are interlinked. Then social factors. There are certain social factors which are also a reason, cause for the poverty. Those social factors are caste system. There is a caste system, and why this caste system actually happened is, this group of people is performing this task and they are grouped into a certain caste, and this group of people is performing certain task and they are grouped into certain task, caste actually. And this is how caste system was introduced. Based on the occupation they perform, they are given a caste. But in as days passed, the idea that happened is the person who is performing a particular task should perform that particular task alone. This is what happened to be taught. So in this manner, if it happens, means a person who is doing hair cutting, say, he should perform only hair cutting. He should not get education. He should not perform any other great task. So likewise, this caste system actually suppressed some lower caste people. Actually, lower caste people are meant to do some low jobs. So if they are suppressed in this manner, then this group of people will always be in poverty, right? So caste system is also one of the reason for poverty of certain group of people. Then male dominant society. In India, there is actually a male dominant society. Male dominant society means, so generally there is a perception that male is the one who is responsible for handling the family. He should earn, and women should just support him inside the home. So she should do the household works and she should be a homemaker. There is a male dominant society, so that the women contribution towards GDP is not increasing, and this also causes poverty because a single person, the male alone, should work for the entire family, and this is also one of the cause for poverty. And land system. Actually, in male dominant society, in our India, there are at least around 93%. Actually, there are around 93% of the land in India is under male's control. So which means only 7% of the female is having land under their control. So this means that male is having more dominance in our society, and this is also one of the major reasons for poverty. And other reasons like corruption. So there is a corruption, and black money is also one of the reasons for poverty, because if there are black money, certain amount of people will have more black money and they will have more purchasing power. So because of their high purchasing power, certain cost of the commodities may increase, and this may cause inflation. This black money causes inflation, which also affects the poor people. So this may increase the poverty. So black money is also one of the reasons for poverty. Then lack of investment. So investing in the infrastructure, investing in development activities will increase the money flow in the market actually. So if there is no investment, the money flow will be reduced. And if the money flow is reduced, automatically the poor or the one who is worst affected. So this is also one of the cause for poverty. Then natural calamities. So natural calamities can also cause poverty actually. So many people are depending on agriculture. If there is a natural calamity and if the agriculture is affected, the 60% of population in India will also be affected, right? So the natural calamities will also affect the poverty. And the inefficient utilization of resources. For example, for inefficient utilization of resources, we can see water. So nowadays our government is giving free electricity for agriculture. So if there is a free electricity for agriculture, what actually happens is that if there is free electricity, then automatically what people are doing is they are just switching on the motor and they are forgetting it, and through this more amount of fresh water, groundwater is being wasted. As the motor is running, the groundwater will be wasted. So the free electricity, what it is causing is, it is actually wasting the groundwater. So inefficient utilization of resources is one of the reason for poverty, because if the groundwater is wasted, then automatically there will be a depletion of water at some point, and which also affects the poor. So this is also one of the causes of poverty. Relating water, if I want to say the best country in water management is actually Israel. So Israel is best in water management. Why? Because they uses micro irrigation and drip irrigation. So micro irrigation and drip irrigation means the water is sprayed in this manner. So which means the water which is needed for the crop is alone used for irrigation, not excess amount of water is used for irrigation. But in India, we use excess amount of water for irrigation because of the free electricity and all that. We are just switching on the motor and we are forgetting it, and because of this, more amount of groundwater is being wasted in India. So this is also one of the causes of poverty. Then poverty estimation. So poverty line estimation, actually there is a term we will hear, BPL. BPL means below poverty line. So below poverty line, how it is estimated, how certain people are considered poor and certain people are considered not poor. How we are calculating that? So why poverty line actually should be estimated? So we might have a thought that why this poverty people should be identified. Actually, the reason for identifying this poor people is for equity treatment. So what is this equity? Equity means giving equal importance is different from equity treatment. So equal importance means if you are having 50 rupees and if there are two persons, dividing it into 25 and 25 is equal treatment. Whereas in equity, you are having 50 and in that 50, if you are giving 40 rupees for a person who really needs that money and 10 rupees for another person, means the reason why you are giving 40 to a single person is that he is poor comparable to the other person. So you are giving more concentration to a single person. This is to bring equal status or equal financial status to both the persons. So to bring equality, you are giving special treatment to a particular person. So this is called as equity treatment. So for best example for equity treatment, we can say ration shops. In ration shops, if you see, actually certain group of people are having certain color cards, whereas other certain group of people are having some other color cards. In certain cards, they can get more amount of grains compared to other group of people. Why? Because that group of people are considered below poverty line people actually. So certain people will get around 10 kgs of rice, 15 kgs of wheat. Likewise, certain people are given. The reason is that the family is considered below poverty line. They are considered poor. So that is why they are given special consideration, and other people who are rich is not given that special consideration, and this is called as equity treatment. So actually the first person who calculated this poverty line estimation actually started in 1868. In 1868, Dadabhai Nehruji. So Dadabhai Nehruji, so you would have known about this person. Dadabhai Nehruji is the grand old man of India. He is considered as the grand old man of India, and his books are Poverty and British Rule. He talked about poverty. So poverty and British rule is his book, and he also said drain of wealth. Drain of wealth is a theory by Dadabhai Nehruji, and these are the things, books relating to Dadabhai Nehruji, and he is considered as the grand old man of India. He said, if you earn more than 16 rupees per year, then you are not poor. Which means that in 1868 itself he said that if you earn 16 rupees per year. So nowadays, if you are earning 16 rupees per day itself, you can't manage your daily activities. But during 1868, if you earn 16 rupees per year, then you are considered not poor. This is said by Dadabhai Nehruji, and we can say that if a person earns 16 rupees, below 16 rupees per year, then he might be considered poor. If he is earning more than 16 rupees, he is not considered as poor. So we can say this 16 rupees is the poverty line. So based on this, we can consider the people, we can calculate the people who are poor and who are rich, right? This is by Dadabhai Nehruji. And he calculated the expenditure of the products like rice, dal, mutton, vegetables, oil, salt as well as ghee also. He added the expenditure of all these products and calculated the 16 rupees actually. So there are certain basic needs one should satisfy, right? So if he is able to satisfy those basic needs only, he is considered not poor. So if he can buy rice, dal, mutton, vegetables, oil, salt, ghee, then he is considered not poor. So by calculating the expenditure of these products and calculating only, he arrived this value called as 16 rupees. And this is what said by Dadabhai Nehruji, and he has done this poverty calculation first. And then after this we have 1938. In 1938 we have National Planning Committee. In 1938 a committee was set up called as National Planning Committee, and this committee was set up by Subhash Chandra Bose. And then in 1938 actually we have Haripura session, and in 1939 we have Tripura session. Both session and the Subhash Chandra Bose will be the president. And during this they calculated that for rural if they earned 15 rupees. This is what said in 1938. So rural 15 rupees and in urban 20 rupees. So earlier we have seen that in 1868 if a person earns 1868, if a person earns 16 rupees per year, he is considered not poor. This is said by Dadabhai Nehruji. But in case of 1938 estimation that if a person earns 15 rupees per month, so just clearly remember that in 1868 they say about an year expense, whereas in 1938 they say about a month. So 15 rupees per month means he is not poor in case of rural, whereas in case of urban if he earns 20 rupees then he is considered not poor. And after this there will be Bombay Plan. Bombay Plan is in 1944, which we have earlier discussed during the nation planning. So in 1944 Bombay Planning, they said 75 rupees per year. 75 rupees per year is needed for satisfying the basic needs, and based on this poverty is estimated. And after this 1962 Working Group of Planning Commission. Working Group of Planning Commission said in rural 20 rupees per month and in urban 25 rupees per month. So, but in this amount actually education and health is excluded. This is an important point. In 1962 Working Group of Planning Commission estimated 20 rupees for rural people and 25 rupees for urban people, but what they did is they excluded the health and education. So now we have seen first person to do is 1868 Dadabhai Nehruji. He said 16 rupees per year, whereas in 1938 Subhash Chandra Bose Committee, National Planning Committee, they said for urban 15 rupees per month and for rural 15 rupees per month and for urban 20 rupees per month. And in 1962 Working Group of Planning Commission said that for rural 20 rupees per month and for urban 25 rupees per month, but in this amount education and health is excluded. And after this in 1979 we have one famous thing called as YK Alag Committee. So in this YK Alag Committee, this is the first time to use average calorie intake actually. So they calculate the average calorie intake, and based on that they said, so they suggested for rural the average calorie intake which is needed is 2400 calories, and for urban the average calorie intake which is needed is 2100 calories. So why they say 2400 and 2100 is that actually rural there will be more physical work. So in rural area mostly they will be dependent on agriculture, they will be doing more physical work, and in case of urban mostly we are having more tertiary sectors and we are doing IT works and all that, and in that physical work is less. For more physical work we need more calories, and for less physical work we need less calories. So they have suggested that for rural they needed 2400 calories and for urban they need only 2100 calories, and this is the first time average calorie intake is considered for calculating the poverty in 1979. And in 1993, Lagdawala Committee. So Lagdawala Committee said calorie intake can be continued. They suggested that in the 1979 YK Committee's calorie intake wise calculation of poverty can be continued, but he said that agri and labor can be divided instead of division like rural and urban. This is what suggested. Why? Because is that earlier we have a division that in all things like from 1938 onwards we are dividing we are calculating poverty based on the rural area. For rural area this is the limit, and for urban area this is the limit. But this Lagdawala Committee said we can divide it into agri and labor instead of rural and urban. Why? Because is agri force, we can divide the agri force, and in rural area also there are some small scale industries, there are some manufacturing units. Whereas in urban area also there are certain poor people who are living. So based on that we can divide it into agri and labor instead of this rural and urban. This is the major suggestion which was given in Lagdawala Committee, but they agreed for the calorie intake wise calculation of the poverty. And 2005. This is one important committee, Suresh Tendulkar Committee. So Suresh Tendulkar Committee was in 2005. Their reference period was 30 days actually. Within this 30 days, how much expenditure? Their reference period was 30 days, and within this 30 days, how much expenditure for food, cloth, education, footwear also calculated. Medical, etc. is calculated, and based on this they arrived that within a month this much amount is needed for satisfying their basic needs, and if they are not able to earn this much amount, then that person is considered poor. So based on that they gave suggestion that for rural 27 rupees per day. So earlier in 1938 they say 15 rupees for rural, and in 1968 they said 20 rupees for rural, and this has changed. Now in 2005 they are saying 27 rupees for one day actually, or 446.7 rupees per month. But basically we can remember in this manner itself. First 16 rupees in 1868 for a year, and then 1938 15 rupees per month for rural and 20 rupees for urban, and in 1962 working group of planning committee said that for rural 20 rupees and for urban 25 rupees, and in 1979 they done based on the calorie intake YK Committee, and they said 2400 calories for rural and for 2100 calories for urban. Lagdawala Committee accepted the calorie intake calculation itself, and they said agri and labor should be the division instead of rural and urban. And then 2005 Suresh Tendulkar Committee said 27 rupees for rural per day, and for urban 33 rupees. 27 rupees for rural and 33 rupees for urban. So this is what said. And after this they had a reference period of 30 days, and within this 30 days the expenditure for the food, health, education, footwear, medical, everything is calculated, and based on that they arrived this amount. And then we have 2012. In 2012 is Rangarajan Committee. So based on this Rangarajan Committee, there is a modified and a mixed reference period actually. Earlier in Suresh Tendulkar the reference period is 30 days only, but here they have 365 days as the reference period for certain products, 7 days as the reference period for certain products, 30 days for certain products. So first, in Rangarajan Committee, 365 days. So 365 days expenditure on the cloth, education, medicine, food and footwear is calculated. And 7 days expenditure on oil, egg, fish, meat and fruits is calculated. 30 days expenditure on other food like rice, dal, vegetables is calculated. And based on that, they has arrived to a calculation. And that is for rural 32 rupees per day. Earlier we have seen 27 rupees per day in Suresh Tendulkar committee, and for urban 47 rupees per day, and earlier we have seen 33 rupees. So this is what said in Rangarajan committee, and this is what followed still in India. So still, if a person is earning, if you are earning 32 rupees per day in a rural area, then you are considered not as poor. If you are earning 47 rupees per day in urban area, then you are considered not poor. So this is what still followed, and they said 365 days. Why they are calculating 365 days? Why? Because in Suresh Tendulkar committee also they calculated the footwear. They calculated footwear for 30 days, but certainly, but basically no people will replace the footwear within a 30-day, right? So based on 365 days, if they calculate the footwear expenditure and education and medicine expenditure, it will be more appropriate actually. So based on that, education, medicine and footwear and cloth expenditures are calculated for 365 days. And for 7 days, oil, meat and egg expenditures are calculated. Why? Because generally meat is purchased in certain days. Say, if meat is purchased in Sunday, every week there will be a plan, right? For every week there will be a diet plan, and every week on Sunday there will be purchase of meat. So for meat and egg we can calculate based on weekly basis, and for monthly basis, say rice and dal we will procure for a month actually generally. So based on that, they are calculating the expenditure for rice, dal things for 30 days, and this is how to arrive in a more perfect manner. They calculated the footwear, education and medicine for 365 days, and oil, egg, fish and meat for 7 days, and rice and dal for 30 days. So based on the expenditure they spend for these products, they arrived at a value called as 32 rupees for urban. If you are earning 32 rupees in urban area per day, then you are considered not poor. If you are earning 47 rupees in rural in urban area, if you are earning 32 rupees in rural area, then you are considered not poor. If you are earning 47 rupees per day in urban area, then you are considered not poor. Still, this Rangarajan committee is the one which is followed in India. So these are the things, and these are the things which are happened in India actually. So if we talk about in an international way, World Bank is the one which suggested the international line to poverty line. They gave a suggestion. They said that if a person earns $1 per day, then he can satisfy the basic needs. So based on the World Bank of India, based on the World Bank report, there are around 60% of the people below poverty line in India. But based on our calculation, there are only around 25% of people below poverty line. So why? Because $1 is equal to 70 rupees, I guess, approximately. So $1.9 means it will be exceeding 100 rupees. So it is more than 100. $1.9 is more than 100 rupees per day, World Bank is saying. But in India, we are saying that 32 rupees per day is enough actually to satisfy the basic needs. That is what said in Rangarajan committee, and we are still following that Rangarajan committee. So see the difference. 32 rupees per day in India, which we are saying for rural area, is sufficient to satisfy the basic needs, and in World Bank they are saying $1.9, which means approximately $2. Approximately it is around 140 rupees. So this is what World Bank say, and this is what we say. So based on the World Bank, if we estimate the India's poverty, then there is around 60% of the people below poverty line. Based on India's Rangarajan committee, if we calculate, there are around 25% of the people below poverty line. So these are the things which are relating to poverty. And next we can see population. We can discuss about population in our next video. Subscribe to Mile Minute IAS Academy. Thank you.